Hey, Victoria, have you ever been starstruck?
As a matter of fact, I have.
Ah, who was it? Was it a famous Hollywood actor?
Not quite.
How about a music superstar?
Actually, it's someone who has very much influenced my career.
Oh, well, thanks, Victoria. But now that we're co-hosts, I hope you're not too starstruck by me anymore.
Well, actually, I'm talking about Paralympic cross-country skier Brian McKeever.
Oh, yeah, well, why wouldn't you be? Brian made history in 2010 when he was the first athlete to be named to the Olympics and Paralympic Winter Games.
And he's retained his position as the top visually impaired cross-country skier in the world. And he's now on track to compete in his 5th Paralympic Games in Pyeongchang next year. I had the chance to sit down with Brian and thank him for being such a positive influence on my Paralympic career. Check it out. Hi, Brian.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm actually a very big fan of yours. I met you back in 2012, and we had a photo taken together, and it was on my Facebook profile for a really long time. So I'm very excited to be interviewing you. So for those who don't know, you were diagnosed with Stargardt's when you were 18, is that right?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit just about sort of how you found out and how you moved on from there?
Yeah, I started having trouble reading billboard signs, that bits of them would disappear, and I didn't know that it was happening and would just misread it, and things wouldn't make sense. So something like a word like that might have said tie.
Right.
And eventually couldn't read street signs very well at all, and went in and had the eyes checked, and when glasses didn't work, I knew what it was because my dad has the same thing, and
Right.
it's genetic in our family.
But we could do a whole show about the accomplishments that you've had. You've had an incredible career. Can you tell us some of your proudest moments?
Sochi was a good one. Everybody talks about the crash in the sprint in the first few hundred meters and coming back. That was, again, quite a cathartic moment. But racing with my brother in 2010 and managing to win 3 races, which is the first time we've done that. And to do it with my bro, that was quite good.
Yeah, pretty awesome. So going back a little bit, so I have to tell you how I got started in parasport because you're part of the story. So I actually didn't do sports at all when I was a kid because no one knew how to accommodate me, and I just thought it wasn't something I could do. And then when you were in Torino, you were on the front page of our newspaper in Toronto, and my friend sent me the article with one sentence underneath that said, "You're slacking off." And so it was funny, but it got me thinking that I probably should try sports that are, adapted for people with vision loss. And so I tried it and fell in love with it. And so the rest is history. So just going back, your story is very different. Can you just tell us how you got started?
Well, I blame my dad. He got my brother and I both started when we were about 3 years old, skiing in the backyard and graduating to the mountains eventually. And to have an older brother who was in the sport as the younger bro, I just wanted to follow what he was doing. So I followed an able-bodied program right up until I was about 21 years old. Even after the diagnosis, I didn't even know there was a Paralympic ski team. And they actually came and found me. Initially, I wasn't blind enough. It hadn't degenerated far enough.
Right.
But within 2 years, it had gone that point.
So what is the difference when now that you switch to para-Nordic skiing? How is that for visually impaired athletes? How do they?
Well, and it would depend on what your vision loss is. So, I mean, anybody with total vision loss would need a guide the full time just to keep you safe and let you know left and right. But for me, because I still have full peripheral vision, that I can still train on my own. I don't need a guide. But one thing that parasport has given me is a career that I may not have had. I developed much slower than a lot of guys that I raced with, and I didn't make my first international trip on the able-bodied side until I was 27. It's long after most federations would give up on their athletes.
Right.
So it allowed me to develop at the rate that I needed to reach that level.
But still, so incredible that you were competing able-bodied and were named to the Olympic team in 2010. I mean, so when you're competing able-bodied, how do you navigate the course?
I make sure I know where it goes, first of all. I see enough that I don't need to race with a guide. What I pay attention to are the danger spots, so the hard corners, fast downhills, things like that.
I was going to say, it's funny, Paralympic athletes kind of downplay their accomplishments and it's not a big deal, but it really is incredible, and it really goes to show people that if you're determined to do something, you will find a way to do it.
Absolutely. I think, that's what makes us athletes as well, is like we have that mentality to keep trying.
All right, last question. What are your goals?
I think to repeat what we did the last 2 games it's getting harder every year. I'm getting older, the young guys are getting faster. So, I mean, the gap narrows, which is natural. But they're not there yet, so we've got a good chance.
And do you have anything, like, I know there's the goals for like your medal performance, but do you have sort of something personal that you want to execute or anything specific that you're working on?
Trying to build towards the Olympics again this year.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that happens, if there's a spot available. I mean, that's not up to me necessarily either. But to try and be prepared for every possibility that might arise this year.
Yeah.
As far as, let's say, Paralympics goes, I'm really comfortable with how that's going to operate because it's now the 5th one.
Yeah.
But again, it's unpredictable. So taking control of what we can, not worrying about what we can't.
Right.
And again, executing that plan is all you can do.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. All right, well, we will definitely be cheering for you and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That is so cool that you got to sit down with one of your personal heroes. He seems like a great guy.
He is very down to earth and funny.
What else did you two talk about?
Well, I gave him some advice about what to buy when he's in Korea. So apparently some of the things to buy are cute socks, animal hats, and dried seaweed. And he said he loves dried seaweed. He grew up eating it because he's half Japanese.
I also love dried seaweed.
Not as much as you love cute socks though, right?
Yeah, you know what? My sock game is pretty strong. But you know what? I'm really looking forward to watching Brian compete in next year's games.
Me too. And we will have lots more coverage of the Paralympic Games here on AMI leading up to Pyeongchang in March.